Today we're going to show you how to take out an old window from a 1973 house and install a brand new pre-fit window from Home Depot. This is just a standard off-the-shelf window rather than ordering custom sized windows for the hole. So we'll show you how to take out the window that's really big and put in the biggest size window you can get straight off the shelf from Home Depot. Obviously, the first thing you need to do is remove the old window. So we're doing a quick time lapse here. We're just removing the trim from the inside, which is already done. And now we're removing the cladding and everything from the outside. Now, this was an old house with an old window, so the cladding was easy to remove with just a hammer and a pry bar. And basically, you're just going to get it all out until you expose the entire window. Once it's been all stripped out, it's time to remove it. In this case, I'm going to do it myself, but I strongly recommend you get a helper to help you. This is a very old house, so the window's just going to pop right out quite easily. It's not going to always be that easy, but if your house is old like mine, it's actually pretty easy. One thing that should be noted, this house was built in '73, so the way that they sealed the windows up was to just fold the outside paper over, and then they put a little strip of insulation in there. That created a pillow, if you will, that here on this side you can see that would squish to seal the window. Now this is a very archaic way of doing it, so all we're doing is just cutting along the inside edge to expose this so that we can take this out. We're putting a window in that's a little smaller than the actual opening, so we're going to use this to help carry the waterproofing through to the open hole that we're going to make. But for us right now, our next step is simply to just cut this open and then pull that insulation. You can see this part had very little insulation and therefore very little sealing effect. Now, because we're making the window space smaller, we don't need to get any permits for this, but we do need to measure the space that we need to fill in and then build some little stub walls. I'll show you how to build those stub walls in a minute, but first I'm going to try and explain what we're doing here a little better. So what we're trying to do to make the window opening smaller, we're going to do that by just putting in some wood right here and along here and along here. Now let's jump to the garage where I'm making that little piece of wood initially. This section that we're making for the lower wall, there's nothing special about it. It's just a couple 2x4s with some 2-inch cut pieces nailed all together, well actually screwed together, and we're just going to slip this along the bottom to take up the gap that we need to make the window fit. So I've measured the window, which is right there, it's the tall one, and we're going to leave about 1 inch of space for the opening top to bottom. So this window measures 63 inches for the opening, and our opening is going to measure 64 inches. That leaves us about a 1/2 inch on the top and the bottom by putting this in here. So you're going to see us put that in next. And just like magic, there's that little piece you just saw us build. We're just putting it into place, and then we're going to attach it with some screws right into the existing window frame. This is going to shrink our window opening size. You can see my son cleaning up the rest of that insulation that we looked at earlier. Now it's time to measure the opening from top to bottom just to make sure that it's all correct, and then we're going to measure the sides to see how big of pieces we need to stick in the side to do the exact same thing that we just did on the bottom. Now there's nothing special about the sides. They're going to be done exactly the same way as the bottom was done, so you're going to just see us throw those in next. And they're just screwed in exactly the same way we did the bottom, so we're screwing it into the existing window frame. Again, we're making the window frame smaller, so there's no permit required here. We're simply closing the window space up so that the new window will fit exactly how we want it to. Once that's done, obviously you got to seal it up, so we're using some 1/2 inch plywood and just cutting it to size and then screwing it into place to finish the outside of the house. We'll show you that in a minute, but it's just sealing that hole all up. Here we are adding the other window frame in, and this will give us our final finished opening size that we need to put this window in. So we'll jump next to actually prepping the waterproofing so that we can get that window in. So the frame is done. It's ready to accept the window after we waterproof it, but I'll show you what we've done here. So we've shrunk the frame. You can see we built this wall inside here. We've sheeted it with plywood. We're going to tie in the waterproof membrane. You can see it's not quite long enough on the top or the bottom or on the sides. Well, actually the top is long enough, but we're going to use some new Tyvek wrap to just splice in around the window to completely waterproof it. We're going to do that next, and then I'll show you kind of what that looks like. We're going to prep the whole thing for the window, then we'll do a test fit. In fact, I probably should do a test fit now, but I'm not going to because I'm confident in my hole size. So we've got the first layer of the Tyvek added. I just want to show you guys kind of what you're going to do here. So you got to think of how water falls. So this top piece we're going to leave loose till the new window's in because it needs to go over the new window. But we peeled off the existing wrap that comes from the siding of the house. We lifted that up, stapled the Tyvek down, and then overlapped this over top and stapled both together. So if we get a wind that kind of blows the rain this way, it'll run and then run down. The next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to seal this up with some of this, which is tuck tape. It's super sticky, and we're just going to seal the seams so there's really no way water is going to get in there, but if it did, it's got the overlapping effect so that it doesn't leak onto anything. And there the tuck tape is on. I'll just show you that top seam so you know what we're looking at here. So we've taped it across the top so it's sealed, and then down the side. Now, you're gonna ask, what about down here? Technically, you should leave that open so that if water did get behind here, it'll just run down here, go onto our tuck tape, and then drip down to the exterior finishing, which is down behind this brick. So that is all that we're gonna do there. Now we can start to wrap this in and trim it and do all of the proper window prep. We're gonna do the exact same thing with the other side and then close it all up. And just like that, the window is prepped for install. So we've used some blue skin here. It helps to seal the windowsill. You need to have it come up the sides at least 6 inches, which this does. And then you do a bunch of little patches to fold over here and then get the front edge all tied in. Everything's all tied in. The top obviously is left open so that we can flip that up and get the windowsill in. But this is fully tied up, ready for the window to be installed. Of course, for this step, it's very helpful to have some helpers here. You can see we put the bottom in first, and we lifted that paper out from the outside so it goes over the outside of the window. Now we're just sizing and shimming and making sure it all fits. Then you want to check how well it slides up and down into position. You want to make sure it slides smooth before you move on to the next step, which is to actually screw it into place. Once you're ready to screw it into place, you want to make sure that you've siliconed the sides of the window as well as the top. Do not put any silicone on the bottom of the window because you do need to allow a space for water to run out if it did get behind the window. And then for the screws, we just put screws 3 across the top, 3 across the sides, and a couple on the bottom. Once you put the insulation in, the spray foam in, it's really going to hold the window quite well. You do not need a lot of screws to hold that window in. And that's how easy it is to replace that window. It's actually not that easy, but it's easy enough that you can do it as a DIYer from home. It'll save you a ton of money. We've done the 5 windows on the main floor of this house, and we've done it for under 2,000 Canadian dollars. And we had a quote from a window guy. He wanted $25,000. So this is an inexpensive way. Obviously, we haven't finished kind of putting the trim and stuff around there. We'll do that at another day. We just wanted to get the window out, the new window in, and then we'll do the trim another day. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already.
And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.